Hey there, and welcome to Dogs with Big Feelings. I'm Christina Young, certified dog behavior consultant, coach for dog lovers, and fellow guardian of dogs with big feelings. I help people go from frustrated, overwhelmed, and confused to confident, connected, and thriving. If you've got an over-the-top pup and sometimes wonder if you're the only one dealing with stuff, you aren't alone. And if you feel like you've tried everything and you still aren't sure how to help your dog, you're in the right place. If you're ready for more, check out Dream Dog, my program for people whose dogs are a handful. Waitlist is open now. www.positive.dog/dreamdog. Grab a coffee, give your pooch a scratch behind the ears, and let's dive in. In case you haven't heard, I have a free webinar coming up July 15th at 6 p.m. PST. It's all about helping dogs with big feelings. During that webinar, for the first time since January, I'll also be opening registration for my online program, Dream Dog. And stay tuned, because I do have a very special surprise that I will be announcing in the next few days. In modern dog training, we talk a lot about consent, letting our dogs make choices, letting them opt out of things. When do we give them the space to make those choices? And when do we push them a little bit? When do we say, actually, you can deal with this? Or, actually, this is going to be fine. You'll be fine. This is a problem a lot of dog owners face, especially if you have puppies or insecure older dogs. We want to know, are we helping our dogs grow? Or are we forcing them into a situation that harms them? So how do we know? Or how do we decide when to help our dog through a little bit of discomfort versus giving them space and letting them say no? Let's take a look at the whole dog. Context matters more than any particular scenario. One situation doesn't tell us the full story of who a dog is and what's best for them. We have to zoom out and say, okay, who is this dog? What is going on for this dog? And we consider it from three separate lenses. One is their experience. What's that dog's history? What have they rehearsed? What have they been through? And what's familiar versus novel for them? Secondly, we think about resilience. How resilient is this dog? How well do they recover from any kind of stress? Are they going to bounce back quickly from things, or do they shut down or perhaps have bigger reactions that have bigger consequences for them long term? And then thirdly, quality of life. Will pushing through this moment, will overcoming this challenge improve their life overall or erode their trust in us and erode their well-being? Is there a risk of serious fallout? Because that can be the case when we don't listen to our dogs. When is pushing them a little bit the right call? Some gentle pressure might help if a dog is hesitant but curious. Maybe they've recovered well from similar challenges before. That's their resilience history. Will this experience or skill genuinely expand their world? Will overcoming this challenge make their lives better and bigger? For instance, I often have dogs in my nose work classes. My classes are reactive friendly. So when a dog comes in, they might be afraid of the people, afraid of the situation, afraid of the environment, and some of those dogs really do want to opt out of class. And we'll play different games, helping them build confidence up coming through the door. We'll set them up for success. But pushing these dogs through that initial discomfort is going to open up their world. And it's going to give them a safe space where they can grow and build resiliency and learn new things and learn social skills. Often it comes down to a quality of life question. Will this dog's life be better, safer, and richer if they can do this thing? Is that short-term discomfort worth that long-term gain? But always considering, is there a risk of serious fallout? For example, I will never use food to lure scared dogs into interactions with people or other dogs. That has a risk of serious fallout. When we coerce a dog that way, using treats to try to get them near someone they're afraid of or a dog they're afraid of, that's how we can end up creating dogs who go into a situation with arousal high, certain expectations, they don't want to be there, and maybe doesn't have food, or they stumble, or they cough, and that's how people can get bit. We can accidentally train our dogs to approach people even if they feel super uncomfortable. And when an uncomfortable dog is in close proximity with a human, and the pointy end of the dog is near the human's hands, that can have some serious consequences for everybody involved. However, a different situation where I would use food is a dog who's a little afraid of the water. I will drop all kinds of floating treats in that water. It's a little uncomfortable for the dog. Yeah, I'm luring them. But what are the consequences of that? And I do it intelligently. Some cookies get dropped further out, some get dropped further in, so it's not always making it harder. But that's a situation where I am typically, depending on who that dog is, I'm likely going to be okay with that kind of pressure. So when is allowing our dogs to opt out the right answer? Well, firstly, anytime that there's a chance of serious fallout, we want to allow those dogs to opt out, because pushing can do a lot more harm than good in certain scenarios. We can also use opting out as a great way to build confidence and resiliency in our dogs. For instance, when I train movement puzzles, when I train obedience, when I train stationing, when I do any that type of structured training, I always have an opt-out option available for my dogs. I train specific opt-out behaviors that they can say, hey, I don't want to do this, or hey, I'm uncomfortable with this. And giving our dogs control in those scenarios can build a lot of confidence and a lot of resiliency. I allow dogs to opt out of interactions with people and other dogs. And anytime when I think pushing my dog might do more harm than good, I'm going to allow them to opt out. But sometimes the right choice is to push them just a little bit. If you're not sure though, let them opt out. We can always come back and revisit this challenge in the future. However, if we push our dogs too hard and end up with negative fallout, it's going to take a little bit more work to undo that. The secret is in knowing your dog. Protecting your relationship with your dog matters a lot more than checking the box if that box isn't going to genuinely improve the quality of life of your dog, or if checking that box has potential for serious fallout. If you're a member of Dream Dog, in my private podcast, we're going to talk about a few case studies about this, where I go into more detail on a few different dogs. When you're considering whether to push your dog or let them opt out, remember to ask yourself about their experience, their resilience, and the impact on their quality of life. If you succeed, does this make their life meaningfully better? Knowing your dog well enough to make this call is the skill. It's not about having a dog who does everything. It's about having a dog that does the things that make their life better. Some dogs are book club dogs, and other dogs are nightclub dogs. And there are a whole lot of dogs that are somewhere in between. And that's a wrap for today. Thanks for being here. Life with a big feelings dog isn't always easy, and I'm really glad you're part of this community. If this episode helped, share it with someone else who's in the trenches, and head over to positive.dog for more support. And when you're ready to go deeper, check out my program Dream Dog. It's built specifically for people with dogs who have big feelings. Join the waitlist to be the first to hear about our next enrollment, www.positive.dog/dreamdog. See you soon.